Yo, 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 what it do? It's your man, Jaguar Old Mac, back again. Y'all see the title, Arrows Flying. They flying, baby. They flying high and with velocity. You know what I'm saying? So we coming to set the record straight on a few things, just pull out a few tomahawks and axes along with the arrows to let the people know that, we here and we not going anywhere, man. And we done more rebuttals on Chief Holiday's live stream. Also a Touchiness one. And more to come because, they haven't really, they haven't made a scratch, y'all. So it's really just trying to shove it even more in their face on how their theories don't stand a chance against our facts, which result to the truth. So it's time to get more involved with showing y'all more references and sources that we can really depend on as true scholarship. Because most of the sources that we have in our archives and our libraries are sources that are pretty much outdated or in non-print mode, which means they are not printing these books or these sources out, or you're gonna have to dig deep to find them. Some of these books have been received due to waiting lists. Some of these books have been received due to screenshots. Some of these books have been paid for, and just thankfully we ran into the right people, making means ourselves to accumulate the right information to stand behind what the Aboriginal community, as far as spokespeople that do speak up about it, it's just solid references to give us, confirmation to what we're claiming to the people. So we're gonna do that tonight. I got a few things I'll share with the people and break down. Most of these books that I'm gonna share are pretty much dating back from uh, the 1400, late 1500 letters. Um, we'll also be probably getting back into the Atlantis in America. Probably, I got that in mind. Probably, but we're gonna definitely be getting into something of Samuel George Morton, who was a known archaeologist and anthropologist, which is he's also known as the father of it. So, in the case of American studies. Now, of course, we know, there may have been others before, but we got to go with what they give us. And the man himself states in his own words, in his terms, a nice descriptive um, characteristic display of how the people were in this land and how, the people of this land have multi uh, differentials of looks, you know,
Facts.
multi-dimensional. You know what I'm saying? So it's not uh, a
Which is backed up
coincidence
by which is
that
backed up
people,
by anthropologists and archaeologists, data from people that's putting their careers on the line, to
right?
tell the truth. So
That's right.
when
Y'all
we
know that's
looking at the book,
AP, Aboriginal Power. You already know, bro. What's good, bro?
peace, brother. Halito to everybody coming out, get your pens and paper out, and you know,
Yeah, you could take
indulge
notes
in
on
it.
this. Yeah, you could take notes because like I say, for those who are serious with getting into the information, you know, we do share the information and some of the books with the people. So it's nothing to it, So of course, take notes. You know what I'm saying? And the little stuff we give you is very key because we pulling out the key sources to really just keep chopping heads off, man. And we got plenty to give them if they really want to set up a true debate. So
So, and
you
another
know,
thing is, we want them to truly rebuttal our claims, because we are rebuttaling their claims of the whole out of Africa, Egypt having the oldest pyramids, Nile Valley having the oldest civilization. We're rebuttaling that with real time data, actual books by anthropologists and archaeologists that's with data supporting our claims. So y'all jobs as Pan Africans is to disprove what we are seeing. You know what I'm saying? When a brother called the other day and said that we got pyramids in Peru that's older than the one in Kemet, when he called on Sonnet a phone, he was being exact. We done showed the data, we done showed the anthropologists and archaeologists data work to prove that. So we're gonna get into some more information backing up our claims.
that's right. And like we say, it's really just about giving y'all more to look at, man. So we're gonna get right to it. Let me set up a few things here right quick. Okay. So who we gonna start out with first? He's known as a Spanish historian, also a recorder from the Spanish Empire or whatever you want to call it. He was sent out by the ruler at that time. I want to say um, Charles the Fifth or the Fourth. I'm not really sure, but we'll probably see that as we go into it. But the guy goes by the name of Bartolome de la Casa, and I'm pretty sure hear that reference. They should know. They should know who that is because he was a key recorder for the Spanish rulers to let them know and to notify them of what was going on. And I have a few accounts of his recordings, and some of them are still in Spanish. So I have to go and translate it through, Google Translation to actually get key get key terms of what he's saying because even that Spanish is an old form of Spanish and they don't use a lot of the words that he was using in those books. But I do have one, and also I really have like three that are translated already into English, and I also have the original Spanish copies to reference to make sure that the translation is accurate. I also have done the research on Bartolome de la Casa to make sure that's what he was, and that's what I'm gonna do first before we even get into some of his, the account that he had. Of course, I'm not gonna just go through the whole book, but I will share. I will share a good bit of what was going on at the time. So I'm pretty sure everybody can see my screen. You know, um, and we're just gonna start out with a little, Wikipedia version of his little background. Because anytime you want to do a little background, a little history research, Google will at least give you that. You don't have to go through another book or go through multiple documents to really just keep classifying who somebody is. You know what I'm saying? All that is like just petty bullshit that people try to put upon you as if whatever you're studying and researching has no valid point or interest towards the fact. And that's what anybody would do if they're pretty much if they have taken an oath or are part of organizations that pay them to keep those theories. Remember, they are theories, to keep those theories, in public mass, for the people to receive. So we're breaking the theories. We coming with the facts. That's why you won't see a lot of American archaeology or American anthropology stated as in a theory form too much, because it's too much over here to prove and to reference from what actually they find or dig up. It speaks for itself. And then they have accounts in their own text, in their not in their own languages, that give them even more of the truth. Everything we're getting is in another revised account of information. And that's why a lot of times we have to look at the French or the German or the Spanish documents and actually go and translate them, or actually have somebody to translate those documents to actually know what they're saying. But even now, like I say, you got words that are used back then that aren't used now. So it's still maybe a little task to decipher. But you would, most people who do translate these texts, they do a pretty good job if they know the language of, telling and being able to decipher what it's saying. So that's, we're just really giving y'all a good, thorough understanding of what research really is about. Research is really about getting to the source of at least what your oppressor is saying, because we got a lot of groups and a lot of organizations within our own people. Like I say, that we can't forget, we was at war with each other one time, and some of our people did sell us out, and those people have power and have other rights to things today. And it can be these still same people who push these theories or false information on our people. You know what I'm saying? To this day, we can't forget about that. So that's why they don't want you to study what go on in the histories of America, because it's gonna point you to the enemy, not only the so-called pale man, but the copper color too, and the so-called black. So we're gonna keep it going, y'all. Like I say, this right here is Bartolome de la Casas. It's just giving you, some history on them, and it tells you right here, you know, uh, from 1484 to 18th of July 1566, which I don't know if they're saying, that's his actual birthday, or if that's just the time he may have, actually, been in power with that, but I'm pretty sure it's a birthday. But we'll keep it flowing. It say 1484 through 18th of July 1566. Said was a 16th century Spanish historian, social reformer, and Dominican friar. He became first resident bishop of Chiapas and the first officially appointed protector of the Indians. Now, I know that's kind of strange. Like, yo, the protector of the Indians, a Spanishman. What that was you got to remember. Okay, he's on the opposing side. He's just recording. He's just uh writing down the accounts that's taking place, giving descriptions of the land. He's giving descriptions of everything that's pretty much going on that he possibly can. So they appointed him from their rulership as protector of the Indians. It's not like the Indians, the so-called Indians told him to protect them. It's what the Spanish appointed him as. Basically just recording and learning the culture, and finding out things that, the so-called Indians knew. And so to tell you his extensive writings, the most famous being a short account of the destruction of the Indies and Historia de las Indias, chronicled the first decades of colonization of the West Indies and focused particularly on the atrocities committed by the colonizers against the indigenous peoples. All right. So, I'll read a little first. Arriving as one of the first European settlers in America, he initially participated in, but eventually felt compelled to oppose the atrocities um, committed against the Native Americans by the Spanish colonists. In 1515, he reformed his views, gave up his Indian slaves, and Kami in Kamia Inda, whatever that is, and advocated before King Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor, on behalf of rights of the natives. So it's just he was an honest guy, but at the same time, he had a job. So it shows you that he ended up somewhat giving some type of remorse of the accounts of the so-called Indians. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get right to it, and you see here it says the devastation of the Indies. That's what we just read about. That's what they know that he's famous for. This is one of the major accounts that was that he gave back to the rulers. And like I say, the normal copy is in Spanish. So this is just a translated version, and it's just a brief account by Bartolome de las Casas. And we'll just read into this a little bit and just give y'all an idea of what how he described the stories and what the information is put off in his accounts. And like I say, the account of all the explorers, you can pretty much find their descriptive accounts just online, just searching. But we do have translated and Spanish records of the account of the conquistadors and just regular explorers of Spain and the Portuguese. But here's it go. Here we go. All right. The Indies were discovered in the year 1492. In the following year, a great many Spaniards went there with the intention of settling the land. Thus, 49 years have passed since the first settlers penetrated the land. The first so claimed being the large and most happy isle called Hispaniola, which is 600 leagues in circumference. All right, so we all know leagues is like a massive, hundreds of acres of lands that you can see. League was an old term that they used, basically just representing like massive land. All right, so around it in all directions are many other islands, some very big, others very small, and all of them were, as we saw with our own eyes, densely populated with native peoples called Indians. This large island was perhaps the most densely populated place in the world. There must be close to 200 leagues of land on this island, and the seacoast has been explored for more than 10,000 leagues, and each day more of it is being explored. And all of the land so far discovered is a beehive of people. It is as though God had crowded into these lands the great majority of mankind. So it's just saying like there, he's seeing different variety of people right there. Okay, so and of all the infinite universe of humanity, these people are the most guileless, the most devoid of wickedness and duplicity, the most obedient and faithful to their native masters and to the Spanish Christians whom they serve. Okay, so like I say, we gotta remember he is working for them, so he's gonna give certain things that make it seem like yeah, we're just weak and we just obey Christian law. and in Spanish rulership, because of course they coming over here to get the land. So he got to make it seem like we're just all simple, just happy go lucky green people. He does that in the book, but his accounts on how they go to war with us pretty much he tell you are pretty vulgar. But I'll keep going. And say they are by nature the most humble, patient, and peaceable, holding no grudges, free from embroilments, neither excitable nor quarrelsome. These people are the most devoid of rancors, hatreds, or desire for vengeance of any people in the world. You see what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I'm not, I'm not gonna say that a lot of people didn't just, go happy, so nice, and be so caring and giving. I'm not gonna say that, but I know everybody that he encountered wasn't just that nice. You know what I'm saying? You could tell by that today. I mean, but then again, who knows? I'm just saying it just sounds like he's just making the people sound, like real submissive people. So, and because they are so weak and complacent, they are less able to endure heavy labor and soon die of no matter what malady or malady. The sons of nobles among us brought up in the enjoyments of life's refinements are no more delicate than are these Indians, even those among them who are the lowest rank of laborers. They are also poor people, for they not only possess little, but have no desire to possess worldly goods. For this reason, they are not arrogant, embittered, or greedy. Their repasts are such that the food of the holy fathers in the desert can scarcely be more parsim, parsimonious, scanty, and poor. As to their dress, they are generally naked, with only their pudenda covered somewhat, and when they cover their shoulders, it is with a square cloth no more than 2 varas in size. They have no beds, but sleep on a kind of matting or else in kind of suspended net called hamakas. They are very clean in their persons, with alert, intelligent minds, docile and open to doctrine, very apt to receive our holy Catholic faith, to be endowed with virtuous customs, and to behave in a godly fashion. You see, so this was how they was telling the story to basically get more, conquistadors and more people spreading that faith over here, because he was, he telling them that, like, hey, we just happy go lucky, just doing whatever, however they want to do with us. You know what I'm saying? So that's, he's a big reason why they kept coming, because he's making them think, okay, yeah, they getting along with the program. So, and once they begin to hear the tidings of faith, they are so insistent on knowing more and on taking the sacraments of the church and on observing the divine code, that truly the missionaries who are here need to be endowed by God with great patience in order to cope with such eagerness. Some of the secular Spaniards who have been here for many years say that the goodness of the Indians is undeniable, and that if this gifted people could be brought to know the one true God, they would be the most fortunate people in the world. Now, like I said, y'all see right there how they, talk to each other, and how they basically diversing with one another, about how they supposed to enforce their faith on us, as if it was something wrong with the people. But you see, he clearly telling you there's nothing wrong with the people. They wasn't savage, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't doing human sacrifices and stuff like that. He clearly telling you these are just humble, happy people. You know what I'm saying? So I just read a little bit more. Um, Yet into this sheepfold, into this land of meek outcasts, there came some Spaniards who immediately behaved like ravening wild beasts, wolves, tigers, or lions that had been starved for many days. And Spaniards have behaved in no other way during the past 40 years down to the present time, for they are still acting like ravening beasts, killing, terrorizing, afflicting, torturing, and destroying the native people, doing all this with the strangest and most varied new methods of cruelty never seen or heard of before, and to such a degree that this island of Hispaniola, once so populous, having a population that I estimated to be more than 3 million, has now a population of barely 200 persons. All right. So you
Mm.
see what I was saying on how when he describing our people, he just basically telling you that we're submissive, we're nice, we're willing to learn and do whatever and bond with any type of people, right? But then when as soon as he get to describing his own people, the Spaniards, he telling you they acting like beasts, wild wolves, wild tigers, lions, like they've been starving for days, torturing
And
and
I
killing people. You know what I'm saying? So you want to say, Al?
I was just saying this pretty much describing how these people act today that has colonized our land. They acting totally out of control, you know. And the only thing you can jump to is it's gotta be of their nature to do this. Cause you gotta
Facts.
realize we were the last people to be colonized. That's why they call us the lost world or the new world. Even though we was the old world, we was the new world to be colonized. You see what I'm saying? By the time they came over here, they had already colonized Africa,
Right.
Europe, Spain. You see what I'm saying? Australia. These places had already been colonized. You see what I'm saying? We
That's
are the
right.
last people to be colonized and still fully ain't been colonized yet. And you see how these people are still acting almost identical to the way these people described them years ago.
That's it, man.
Ravaging savages, beasts, wolf like monsters.
You know what I'm
And we
saying?
go ahead, bro.
And like you saying, I mean, and this is basically from the, from their mouths telling you, you know what I'm saying? So, and you see, he ain't said nothing about no Africans. You see what I'm
That's a fact.
saying? So, once again, that's why I say this is just a solid source that they should know of, but they probably don't because they only study Africa. You know what I'm saying? So, when you get into the scholarship of America, it's easy to find the real scholars and true scholars because the ones who really talk about America ain't hiding it. You know what I'm saying? They ain't hiding it. You might have a few that want to make a few changes here and there, but for the most part, they gonna tell you what it is. And if you're not looking for it, then you're not gonna know. And that's all it is, man. They don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, like I was saying, you see what he's saying, and we got more of what's going on here. I'm gonna read this little one right here, telling you about Cuba, and then yeah, let me see. Let's see what he's saying right here. The island of Cuba is nearly as long as the distance between Vala Valladolid and Rome. It is now almost completely depopulated. San Juan and Jamaica are two of the largest, most productive and attractive islands. Both are now deserted and devastated. On the northern side of Cuba and Hispaniola lie the neighboring Lacayos, comprising more than 60 islands, including those called Gigantes or Gigantes, beside numerous other islands, some small, large. The least felicitous of them were more fertile and beautiful than the gardens of the king of Civil. They have the healthiest lands in the world, where live more than 500,000 souls. They are now deserted. inhabited by not a single living creature. Okay. So, and like I said, you just got to keep in mind, he giving them the account of what's going on in the story. So he also got to make it seem like there's land available for people to inhabit also. So it's just, and this is more of a psychological thing of knowing what you're looking at, what type of people you're dealing with, who telling the story, what type of organization was they part of. Okay, what was their goal and their agenda? Okay, how could somebody work for somebody for so long or record people for so long, and you know no one is really, you're not really doing anything. You really just as bad as the people coming over there doing the shit, really. You know what I'm saying? You ask me, but we need this record to show exactly the type of accounts that was going on. Now, even though some things he may be exaggerating or whatever, but he letting you know that these islands and when they landed in the West Indies, they were already heavily populated. Period. You know what I'm saying? And further on in the book, like I say, he just keep going and he give you more and more on how they really was just transferring people from island to island. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't taking too many people back with them at first, but later closer towards like they say 1495, something like that, is when a lot of people start really trying to take the people back. It's more so in deeper in the book, but like I say, it just goes on and on. It tell you how the Christian faith was being spread, but how they was using it to kill people, and just giving you just the real raw deal of how they was using their land at back where they was at too. They was doing the same thing in their land, but um, it's just a good read, man, and this is just one of them. Like I say, this is just one of them, just a brief account. And he got over like I'm thinking like 7 or 8 or something like that. That's pretty stretched out, but it is what it is, man. Any more you want to elaborate on, Ab, or something you
I
see?
mean, when you look at some of these documents, they're being unbiased. They are simply explaining what they recorded, what they witnessed. Even from them describing their own people as being savages and wolves, that was unbiased. They was being totally honest to the best of their ability. So, this is pretty much on the record. What I mean? His career is on the line with him stating these things. So he just stating it with the accuracy that he feel like. So I guess we're gonna get into some more of these books. Let's
That's
get it.
right, man. You know what I'm saying? So y'all, Bartolome de la Casa, do more research on him if you really want to know what his work was about and how a key source he is for our information, and how it's an arrow. That's an arrow right there, fellas. You know, it's an arrow family. You know what I'm saying? This right here is the arrow. They really they really don't want to see that right there. You know what I'm saying? Because that right there is like I say, it's coming from their own mouth. And he even describing to you how most other conquistadors were Moor and Negroes. So, you know, he getting you raw, man. Let's see here. That's one I'm gonna get into. One I'm gonna get into right here though. This right here is another key piece of information here. We got an inquiry into the distinctive characteristics of the Aboriginal race of America. And this is basically by and anthropologists and also archaeologists, which they say he's the father of Samuel George Morton. And matter of fact, we'll go ahead and check him out right quick. Samuel George Morton, man. Like I say, they give him the title, the father of I think it's ethnography, which is basically the study of archaeology and anthropology together. And basically, he's like the one who pretty much started it in America. You know what I'm saying? Back in the 1800s. So I'm gonna go ahead and look him up right quick. Samuel George Morton. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
like,
and as you get into that and find that, I'm gonna break down a few things. Yeah, man, y'all just be writing down some of these books and authors and anthropologists. You know what I'm saying? Archaeologists names down so y'all can go do further more research on it yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because these are all substantial evidence is backing up the claim that we're all claiming to be Aborigines or Uncontinent people of America. So, these sources just only giving you better equipped to be able to implement it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to have people, well, what is your sources? Or where are you getting this from? Now you got the books. Now you got the authors. Let's start implementing that.
that's right. You know what I'm saying? And even though, yeah, they made, we want to show you what the other ethnic group has to say. You know what I'm saying? Because we are doing the research on what we can do on our behalf. We don't have tools for radiocarbon and carbon dating. So all we can do is piece the puzzle together with who sends who for our land. And right now, we're finding mostly of the other ethnic groups telling the truth about us. Why? Because our people don't even know. Our scholars in schools, they're not being taught this. And if they are being taught this, they're being rerouted right back into Africa. You know what I'm saying? So they're taught to, teach Africa. That's the scholarship of the black man, Africa. It's not supposed to be America. They didn't want it to be that way. But now we got it. You know what I'm saying? So of course we gotta learn from other ethnic groups. You know what I'm saying? Because they have the actual stuff to find out and they actually are telling you hands down without any racial or whatever you want to call prejudice, whatever input. You know what I'm saying? They giving you the science, they giving you the facts. You know what I'm saying? That's why you can't just go against every other ethnic group, no matter what color. Yeah, most people who may be, oppressors may be from other ethnic groups, but it doesn't mean it's all of them. So you gotta have still use your third eye to decipher what energy and what spirit through other people you can bond with. You know what I'm saying? Whether they're your color or not. You know what I'm saying? It really done got that deep to where, you know, you got to remember some of our people done basically been breaded in. You know what I'm saying? So you think they may be, wiped out spiritually or soulfully. That's when you really gotta keep your mind open to realize that, hey, you gotta at least take what you can get, and if anything, remember what you know. You know what I'm
Fact,
saying, or what you're learning. You know what I'm saying, and you use whatever you use that completely confirms what you're saying. So
facts. Because everything that you're going through is building character. Every school of thought has primed you for every step that you took. So it's building character. As long as we being honest with ourselves, the information gonna keep coming. We'll be able to implement it to our families, so we better equipped on who we are. It has nothing to do with people, religions, or nothing. Cause that's something that you practice on the privacy of your own homes. This is only about stating who we are. Cause the so-called Black American, the so-called African American, the American Indian, right? We are having an identity crisis. because it's not up to us, it's up to all of us. We're not trying to explain and make these videos or prove to European uh white people or who we are, Afrikaner or white people, white Africans or who we are. We're not trying to do that. They already know who we are. We're trying to explain to our people that have been indoctrinated with the whole out of Africa theory. So we only simply using this platform to educate our people with the identity crisis that they're going through. You know, we just want them to wake up, want them to understand what grandmama was telling y'all is facts, yo. You are who you are. So let's walk with it. We got so much pride in our culture. You know what I mean?
That's
And
right.
so let's take pride in this. Let's take pride in into the what the ancestors took pride in. You know what I'm saying? The reason you feel a certain way is because certain memories come to you by DNA and by cells. You know, so we're gonna have to start getting into the science of memory cells and how it plays a factor on our consciousness, right? So, you know, I just want to give you that. Continue on, brother.
Yeah, that's straight there, bro. That's peace. Yeah, man. So we got right here, like I say, Samuel George Morton. Like I say, he's known as the um, one of the founders of the studies of archaeology and um, anthropology or whatever for the American studies. So say right here was an American physician and natural scientist. Morton, who was reared a Quaker but became a Episcopalian in midlife, was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, attended Westtown School, and graduated from the University of Pennsylvania in 1820. After earning an advanced degree from the University of Edinburgh in Scotland, he began practice in Philadelphia in 1824. He was one of the founders of the Pennsylvania Medical College in Philadelphia and served as its professor of anatomy from 1839 until his resignation in 1843. He was elected a member of the American Antiquarian Society in 1844. So, it's giving you his background. Says he was a prolific writer of books in various subjects from 1823 to 1851. He wrote geological observations in 1828 and both synopses of the organic remains of the Cretaceous group of the United States and illustrations of pulmonary consumption in 1834. His first medical essay on the user of quinine or corny and intermittent fever in 1825 was published in Philadelphia Journal of the Medical and Physical Sciences. All right. His bibliography includes hybridity in animals and plants, additional observation on hybridity, and illustrated system of human anatomy. You know what I'm saying? So you see all that stuff was in the 1800s. You see right here, he also, American School Ethnography, okay, craniology. You see what I'm saying? If don't nobody know what craniology is, when you get time, look up that. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the key studies to, studying remains in archaeology and anthropology. Um, so we're gonna get right to his book. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, it's a good read. It's one that you can't stop reading because he's actually just giving you the breakdown, and with his bibliography, he's actually using archival records and stuff that he studied and examined that, himself. So, um, and once again, the distinctive characteristics of the Aboriginal race of America by Samuel George Morton. So like I say, it's a good read. Printed in 1844. Um, and it's giving you It say the following essay was read at the annual meeting of the Boston Society of Natural History of the 27th of April 1842 and published by direction of the society. In the present edition, I have made a few verbal corrections and added some collateral facts in appendix. I have taken a rapid glance at what I concede to be the peculiar traits of the Aboriginal race of America, as embraced in five principal considerations: their organic, moral, and intellectual characters, their mode of interment, and their maritime enterprise. And from these, I have ventured to draw a few definite conclusions. I am aware that it may appear presumptuous to attempt so wide a range within the brief limits of the present occasion, of the present occasion, especially as some points can be touched only in the most general manner. But my object has been to dwell rather upon some of these which have hitherto received less attention than they obviously deserve, and which are intimately involved in the present inquiry. You know what I'm saying? So he's just saying, just telling you about the Aboriginal race and how what was going on then and what was going on now. He's just telling you that's what the essay is about. All right. Ethnography, the analysis and classification of the races of men, is essentially a modern science. Okay. Now, you gotta remember this is back in the 1800s. So at a time when nature and her other departments had been investigated with equal zeal and success, this alone remained comparatively neglected. And of the various authors who have attempted its exposition during the past and present centuries, too many have been content with closet theories. All right, so he let you know, a lot of people, are upholding theories. You know what I'm saying? In which facts are perverted to sustain some baseless conjecture. Okay. Hence, it has been aptly remarked that Asia in the country of fables, Africa of monsters, and America of system to those who prefer hypothesis to truth. All right. The intellectual genius of antiquity justly excites our admiration and homage. But in vain we search its records for the physical traits of some of the most celebrated nations of past time. It is even yet gravely disputed whether the ancient Egyptians belonged to the Caucasian race or the Negro. Okay. They let you know, it's been stories of the Egyptians being Caucasian and the Egyptians being Negroes. So, and was it not for the light which now dawns upon us from their monuments and their tombs, this question might remain forever undecided. The present age, however, is marked by a noble zeal for these inquirers, which are daily making man more conversant with the organic structure, the mental character, and the national affinities of the various and widely scattered tribes of the human family. Among these, the Aboriginal inhabitants of America claim our especial attention. Okay, this vast theater has been thrown from immemorial time by numberless tribes which live only to destroy and be in turn destroyed without leaving a trace of the sojourn on the face of the earth. Contrasted with these were a few civilized communities whose monuments awaken our surprise without unfolding their history. And he who would unravel their mysteries may be compared, in the language of the poets, to a man standing by the stream of time and striving to rescue from its waters the wrecked and shattered fragments which flow onward to oblivion. All right. So he just giving you, it is not my present intention even to enumerate the many theories which have been advanced in reference to the origin of the American nations, although I may in the sequel inquire whether their genealogy can be traced to the Polynesians or Mongolians, Hindus, Jews, or Egyptians. nor shall I attempt to analyze the views of certain philosophers who imagine that they have found only a variety of races, but several species of men among the Aborigines of this continent. You see what I'm saying? So it's telling you like they seeing people that look like all the people they so called, just named or whatever, but they are aboriginals. They are copper colors. You know what aborigine means. Okay, so say it is chiefly my intention to produce a few of the more strikingly characteristic traits of these people to sustain the position that all the American nations, excepting the Eskimo, that's how they spell the Eskimos or whatever, are of one race, and that this race is peculiar and distinct from all others. Right, so it's just gonna give you just a little description, okay? Physical characteristics. It is an adage among travelers that he who has seen one tribe of Indians has seen all. So much do the individuals of this race resemble each other, notwithstanding their immense geographical distribution and those differences of climate which embrace the extremes of heat and cold. The half-clad Fuegian or Fuegian, shrinking from his dreary winter, has the same characteristics, lineaments, though in an exaggerated degree, as the Indians of the tropical plains, and these again resemble the tribes which inhabit the region west of the Rocky Mountains, those of the Great Valley of the Mississippi, and those again which skirt the Eskimo on the north. Okay. All possess alike the long, lank, black hair, the brown or cinnamon colored skin, the heavy brow, the dull and sleepy eye, the full and compressed lips, and the salient but dilated nose. These traits, moreover, are equally common to the savage and civilized nations, whether they inhabit the margins of rivers and feed on fish, or rove the forests and subsist on the spoils of the chase. It cannot be questioned that the physical diversities do occur, equally singular and inexplicable, as seen in different shades of color varying from a fair tint to a complexion almost black, and this too under circumstances in which climate can have little or no influence. All right. So also in reference to stature, the differences in remarkable and entire tribes, which moreover are geographically, geographically, geographically proximate to each other. All right, so y'all see what he's saying, man. These facts, however, are more exception to a general rule and do not alter the peculiar physiognomy of the Indian, which is as undeviatingly characteristic as that of the Negro. All right. So, I mean, he basically just giving it to you throughout the whole, this essay. And this book is like over 200 and something pages. And he's just breaking down a lot of regions. You see right here, Peruvian, Mexico, mounds. He's just giving you the hardcore facts that as far as what we talk about, this right here alone is a super thunderbolt, flamed up tomahawk.
Facts.
You feel me, AP? Anything you want to say on that, brother?
Man, that's a fact. I mean, you pretty much summed it up, man. I mean, we are a remarkable people, yo. And there's no denying our presence here. You know what I mean? So, we just got to keep on embracing it. You know what I mean? We ain't even got started on books that we can go into. You know what I mean? Disclosing who we are. You know what I mean? So you pretty much hit the nail on the head, brother.
And this just the beginning of this book. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, it just. I mean, some things, like I say, if you don't know what to look for, if you got somebody got your head spinning or got your eyes looking way out west when the whole time you supposed to be looking right where you standing, you ain't gonna know, you ain't gonna even, you're not gonna have a clue what to ask about where you standing if all your life you've been looking somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, you know, anything we probably would present to somebody that has spent thousands and thousands of dollars or spent hours and days and years or who have named themselves and their children after identity that don't even really belong to them. You can't expect them to just willingly give it up. And I don't expect nobody just to willingly give up anything. But when you do your research and you study, and you know for a fact that something is telling you that this stands more solid or this is more older or your people come from here instead of there, even when you try to do your own research. And we all know that most Africans that we do know their African culture or they know their African lineage.
That's a fact.
And so for us who don't, you should know who you are by now. And if you was a Moor or a Spaniard, you'll be somewhere probably with some money or somewhere sitting off with a bunch of big boy dope or something. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not just gonna throw it out there like that's what's going on, but I'm just speaking on what's done took place from what we're learning and what
Yeah,
we're coming to now. We're trying to find the oppressors, you see.
you're right. And that's the thing. Even the colonizers that came over here in the book that you're reading stated we are a very distinctively different than the other races. That means we're not African. They had been to Africa, they seen Africans. We're not Moors, we're not European. They had seen these people. You
Fact,
understand? We
fact,
are a extraordinary and a distinctively different people of a other race, and we are the hidden race, right? So they want to label us as what they want to label us as, but when we come out and state who we are, that's when it began to be a problem to these other people.
fact.
So that's just a pure dagger by itself to them by just that little quote. We are a distinctively different people. You know what I'm saying? And that's to the Dagger Squad. Y'all gotta disprove all this. Amon Ra Squad. You gotta disprove this. HOK and the rest of Sonetta buddies, right? Y'all got to disprove this.
And they can't. How you gonna disprove something that was before your time, before your mama time, or your grandmama time, or whoever? You know what I'm saying? This is documented. A known archaeologist, the father of that so-called ethnography. You know what I'm saying? Studying craniology and telling you right here, he ain't even hiding it. And y'all seen what ethnic group he was, and he ain't hiding nothing. He ain't being racial or racist about nothing.
Because he called his own people savages.
You know what I'm saying?
And this is and like the brother said, this is actually a primary source. And when we dealing with these guys, they like to bring up scholarship. They haven't even seen us implement any type of scholarship, right? We pretty much freestyle these bills for y'all and drop powerful information. But yet, you don't need to do too much prepping when you're going through primary sources, and we got plenty of them. So, y'all just load up the information. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? You know, And like I say, it's I don't you can't stop reading this book, man. You can't stop reading this. I'm telling you. They call it an essay, but it's basically a book, man. It's like almost 200 and something pages. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you can't stop reading it because it's like you amazed that somebody just blatantly telling you that your people were here and are some of the most amazing, if not the best people on the planet. And I'm not being biased. This is what these people are telling us, man. You seen what the first man told you, Bartolome de la Casa. He told you the same thing, basically. You know what I'm
And
saying?
so and so what we're doing is giving you the option of what type of anthropologist or archaeologist data primaries do you want to go with? Do you want to go with your Frank Boas and your W.E.D. Du Bois and your Melvilles? If you want to go with these guys who backed up the Darwin evolution, which sprang into the eugenics program, which eventually came into the whole out of Africa theory, then that's fine. That's what you subscribe to. But their records is not backed up by any data. It's based off of it's based off a fictional book that was published in libraries in the fictional section. No more than reading a Harry Potter book, right? It was in that section. So we got to understand this whole theory is is nothing more than a Harry Potter book. In other words,
That's right. And you see, he stated nothing of a theory. He stated nothing of any primates or nothing like that. That talk really just became more relevant around I would say 80s up to now, man. All that theory stuff, which if you want to base your studies off theories, that's fine. But if you gonna really get to the source or really get to what really is going on, or if you really wanted to be, determine, okay, well, who is the oldest people on this terrain, then you got to look everywhere. You can't automatically look one place and tell somebody that's the only place just because that's the only place you choose to look, and then holler pseudo soon as somebody tell you that even the Bible is telling you about this place, but yet they translated and rehearsed it and reversed it into some tribe of based in off some tribe in Ethiopia, and the whole time, like they say, it's Utah, the tribe of Utah. Utah is the same replica map over there as like they copied as Israel. I think the UB News showing that. And there's a couple of more people. Corey Mayo, I think, even showed that. I think so. I'm thinking now. I may be wrong, but I'm
and the
telling you,
reason they use the method, and it ain't just the Africans, right? They are indoctrinated too. It was the
right?
whole plan of the European to feed us the history in reverse in order to write themselves in it.
Facts.
That's it.
True. That's it, man.
So that's pretty much what we dealing with. And you're right. And you got to realize everybody marches at the beat of our drum. Everything we do is an impact on the world's culture, right? Not just our culture in America, but what we do as Aborigines, as so-called Black Americans, as American Negro, right?
Right.
What we do is so impactful on the world that if we want to sag and throw on gold teeth and put on ball caps, right? That's going to be
Right.
the movement of the world. If we want to battle rap and diss and make all these TV shows that goes into our urban culture nowadays, then that's what's going to feed the world, right? So when you watch basketball, right? This multi-billion-dollar industry, right? With some of the most extraordinary people of athletic ability on the planet in these arenas at one time was all accumulated by ideal from an aborigine with this spare time wanted to shoot a rubber ball into a hoop, right? So, and this is a sport that people train for their life in other countries. So and this is something that we created and manifested only through an idea, and then creativity, and then it physically manifested. So we are definitely impacting the world with every single thing that we do. So it's up to us to impact them in a more blissful way. You understand? So if we want to be the people that's bringing the information, and that's what's hip, and that's what's cool, and that's what's popping, that's what's urban, then everybody's gonna want to teach, want to learn the information and embrace it, because that's gonna be a part of our culture. So we got to bring this American Indian history, spirituality, and teachings back to our people, because once it
Right.
gets around, it's going to be around the world, because what we do goes around the world regardless. You see? And then once that happens, we can start restoring order, because it's up to us to start restoring order. You understand? So I just
That's
want to
right.
leave y'all with
Like I say, man, this right here is um, Indian oppressor of information head buster. That's what this is, man. Straight up, you know. And like I say, the more you read it, the more it just get into how everybody from top to bottom. When I say top to bottom, I'm talking from North America, from the Canadas to the islands to South America, all the way down to the bottom. How everybody have mostly the same look, the Aboriginal look, man. And it's giving you that in this book right here. Telling you, and one day maybe we'll just go completely into it. You know what I'm saying? But we showing us some sources right now, and we just giving them, giving y'all the direct um links that you can go to find the information, or like I say, you reach out to one of us and you trying to get down to help the movement. You know what I'm saying? You really trying to push the information, whether it's in your family, in your community, whatever. And we know you down. We're gonna build with you, whatever, and see what's up. And then, hey, we know you gonna get it in. You know what I mean? You get the information just like we get it. Because when you really for a good cause, good people gonna help you. So we all in, y'all. It's not
yeah,
a
I mean, we all in. And so if there's any questions, leave them in the comment section, whatever. If it's anything that you heard these Dagger Squad, Ride Squad make a claim that we haven't rebuttal, please bring it up to us. We'll be more than happy to rebuttal it. If it's anything that you just want us to put out there for them to try to disclaim, let us know. We'll be more than happy to drop the information, because it's about y'all. You know what I mean? It's about feeding y'all what y'all want to hear. You know what I mean? So, this is what we do it for. You know what I mean? We got, family. So,
right. You know, and it's all about keeping it peace. Like I say, if anything, you know, we still do have good African people that support what we doing, and really know what we doing is right. You know what I'm saying? And we appreciate y'all too. But for those who feel like what we're doing is wrong, or what we're doing is you know some type distraction, or you feel like, some type of agents or something like that. Like you gotta really check yourself, because when you really get deep down into the studies and you start really looking at the psychological um application that it puts upon people, you gotta realize you got people believing in just going around saying things that they don't know or really realize. So it's not even about, to say, like I say, those who know they're African know their heritage and their lineage. You know what I'm saying? And they always remember that. And for other people who don't know, their grandmamas or somebody done told them that they somebody in their family was an Indian. That's just hands down, man. So I mean, that's enough said. You can't keep calling everybody a liar, who can't prove that they're African. I'm one of the people who tried to prove that I was African when I was studying African um, culture and studies. I wanted to prove that I was African, and I could not and cannot prove it till this day.
I mean, even if say people are African, right? They know they nation that they come from and the
Right.
and the language. So for those people who are claiming to be African or African descent, please tell me, how did you get here? Was you some of the people that came here that you claimed before the boat, which will have to be very quickly examined to even make sure that's even true? And if so, are you the people that they claim came on the boat,
Right.
right? And then we're gonna have to examine that and see who the African or Afrikaners was that came over here. You see what I'm saying? And if your family was slave, I would like to see. This is a mission for y'all. Go find a freeman's paper, right? From anybody, getting a paper from the government or anybody saying that they were free, that they were enslaved at one point in time and then set free. This would be something that would be passed down from generations and generations. This is a piece of paper that will keep your family free amongst colonizers. And I have yet to see a freeman's paper yet. So that's a challenge for you guys out there. Find a freeman's paper from these so-called Africans or descendants of slaves, right? See if they got a freeman's paper. See what plantation they people was on. So yeah, that's the job for you guys right now.
It's a good job offer. Word. Yeah. So person I'm about to get into next, man. He did a book, a good writing on uh basically a good overview on what the English were doing when they got here. This is a little later on now. This is in the 1600s, late 1700s, and it's just basically giving you a good account on how the English started colonizing and how they ran into the Pequot or the Pequot tribe, and how they was kind of battling and beefing with the Mohegans at the time, and how they ended up settling with the Mohegans, and basically was playing a little both sides thing throughout the colonization they was doing or whatever, man. Just kind of this right here kind of giving you uh more on how they use the tribes against each other, and somehow they was able to, colonize the land, in tactical ways and stuff like that, man. It's a good read, but it's a little complex, but it's a good read because the bibliography he give you, he actually used actual records or archives, and actually, went through plenty of articles that was in those days and stuff like that.
And yeah, you're right. And another thing that we will do after the live stream, which is share the books that you are going through tonight. We will post them in the comment section after the video. So for those who don't got the book, we will be posting the link so y'all can get the PDF form and be able to go through some of these sources yourself. So yeah.
But you know what I'm saying, and like I say, man, like you see right here, to prevent Indians and Negroes being raided with horses and hogs, the shift from slavery to indenture in the early 18th century. You know what I'm saying? Just a little. That's chapter 3, giving you a
Mm,
little overview of this one. The intro is reimagining the the Pequot War. Um, you know, it's just basically it's like I say, it's giving you, you know, I just read the preface right quick. Uh, Two nagging questions led to the genesis of this thesis. The first question I was asked was simple: why had I never learned about Indian slavery in colonial New England? The story I was taught about New England's history in elementary and high school, in television, media, and movies, and even in my classes at Wesleyan, did not reserve a place for Indian slaves. In fact, they hardly had a place for Native people at all. What does the presence of Indian slaves mean for the history of a region in which the supposed extinction of Indian people occurred on a romanticized frontier far from the centers of colonial life in Boston, Providence, and Hartford? A region in which the frontier of exclusion supposedly ensured the Indians and English did not mix, that the one fell before the other in a wave of inevitable conquest. Who exactly were these Indian slaves? All right. The second question was more of a nagging doubt. Had historians missed something vital in their interpretations of the Pequot War? In my sophomore year at Wesleyan, I wrote a paper suggesting that the historiography of the Pequot War had ignored the stories and experiences of its Indian combatants in ways that distorted the historical record. Would it be possible to write a history of the Pequot War from the perspective of the Pequot, Mohegan, and Narragansett? In the back of my mind, I suspected that it wasn't. I suspected that those histories had died with the Peacock themselves. Of course, as soon as I learned the Peacock had not died, they lived right down the road and run the largest casino in North America. As I spent more time reading and researching, it became increasingly clear that these two questions were not, as I had thought, separate. The denial of Indian agency, influence, and even their very presence in New England runs deep, beginning in New England's earliest histories and persisting into the present. In the end, all that was necessary to find Indian slaves and servants in New England colonial archives was to go looking for them. So you see, he telling you, he went to the archives to look for them. In fall of 2011, I emerged from the Massachusetts Historical Society in the Massachusetts State Archives with pages of notes and scratchy photocopies of scratchier microfilm. As I worked to shape my research into a coherent text, I was faced with numerous editorial choices and quotations from colonial documents. I have left intact the original spelling, grammar, and punctuation with a few notable exceptions. By the 17th century, the Old English letter
okay.
thorn, if y'all could see that or whatever, like a little a P or something, which signified TH, had been replaced by the letter Y. And the interest of intelligibility, I have replaced Y with TH where appropriate and written out the following abbreviations: YE, which is yay, I guess, has been expanded to the YT to that and YS to this. Additionally, I expanded the abbreviation SD to said and the ampersand to and. Where appropriate, I have changed U to V and F to O to S. Finally, in transcribing handwritten documents, I have added on the side of modern spelling where the text was unclear. I made the same changes when working from published primary sources, although obviously I remain at the mercy of the original transcribers. So he letting you know he the way he wrote it and how he describing when he get to the uh quotations or whatever in they documents. He just basically giving you the real way it's supposed to be said already or whatever. And he's pretty well sourced or whatever. And like I say, he breaking down a lot in the book. He giving you how they colonizing and stuff like that. Like I said, this right here is forging new communities, Indian slavery and servitude in colonial New England from 1676 to 1776. You know what I'm saying, by Bernard J. Lillis. And he got a Bachelor of Arts and Department of Honors in history. So he's pretty well versed. Like I say, it's just a good read too. You can get through it, but you're gonna want to research as you going through it because he's giving you a lot to look at one time sometimes. But it ain't hard to read, but it's just I mean, it's not boring, but if you read it and you know what you read and you know what I'm saying, it's straight. It's like, and it's showing you how basically how they start mating in and all that. I guess that's how he telling you the peacock end up really getting all the casinos right down the road. Because as I was reading, and that's I kind of skipped into a chapter or whatever, but um, it's a good read, man. Like I say, he giving you how they was warring with the Mohegans and how they basically was already at it, and the English just easily made they little settle. You know what I'm saying? While they was basically warring with each other, it's like they was more worried about each other than the Englishmen. So it was a lot of that going on too with our people, because it was, I guess it was by this time, people were really dealing with people and people were trading with people. So who really know how many times or how many people that was Spanish or whatever or of pale complexion really came to the lands and was doing business or whatever for people to just ally with another type of people like that. You know what I'm saying? Or did they have people of our that looked our color with them, and he kind of goes into that, and it's like he don't actually gets into the explanation of that, but he mentions that there were black people coming from Europe, you know what I'm saying? So not only just Africa, but um I didn't take the note on that, so I can't find it. But this is a good book right here. Um,
What's the name of that book one more time?
yeah, I'm gonna go back up to the top because I was gonna try to find it, but I know I ain't. Forging New Communities, Indian Slavery and Servitude in Colonial New England. And it's giving you, by like I say, all the regions from like Connecticut, Rhode Island, all the way down to Massachusetts. You know what I'm saying? Then they get down to how some of the tribes later on in the book start making their way down south and stuff like that, man. So, you know, just another one that more modern, and it's easy to download. This is you can get this one off. You should be able to get this one off PDF. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to get this one. And this, like I say, it help gives account to show that, like I say, we do still have rights to lands, but and then it show in that area it give a little account of how they made the treaties too. You know what I'm saying? So, it's not necessarily gonna make you the happiest, but it's still something to know. You know what I'm saying? Due to how things were implemented and got switched around as they start colonizing, man. And it was basically still Spanish settlers and Spanish colonizers who was still here too. And that's who, like I say, not only the when the French came was battling with, like I say, there was Spanish, French, and English was battling each other, and they was, of course, using some of the Indians as far as with the treaties they made to help them go to war. And like you say, that's when you started getting into the Indian wars and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's what we really gotta gonna hit more of, get into more of that. Um, we'll say that for next time because that's a whole nother deep um lane. Some people gonna be seeing certain things about certain tribes and certain nations, maybe even that they may have heard maybe in a family, and might hear about things that you know they might not agree with themselves that they people did, or you know so we just got to know that we here to bond and unite with each other now, because whatever our differences was then, it don't exist no more. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully don't nobody take any information and try to uphold it nowadays as if you know just because this family and that family was warring with each other back in the day, like y'all still supposed to be warring. Hopefully our people at least got that, that much sense to know, hey, we beyond that, because look at where it got us, sitting here trying to learn our own shit again. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I'm not trying to go back to doing that no more. So I'm a big advocate of unity. And like I say, when we get more into the studies, and we really start studying the wars and the tribal wars that were going on, start really getting into some documents of that, hopefully everybody can really just learn for that and just bond from that. Other than that, we won't even really get into it if we feel like, hey, it's gonna really cause a real distraction to some
Thanks.
people to feel like they supposed to really be beefing with one another because some old 600-700 year old shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, or it could be recent. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I mean, we just gotta realize that us being segregated like that in that manner, wasn't healthy to our land. And that's why it's going through what it's going through now. But you can't beat the best. So we still good. We still gonna hang in there and claim and dominate all the oppression that's coming our way. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing to it. It's just we just got to really realize that it's bigger than all of us as individuals. But we do have the right individually to represent ourselves spiritually. You know what I'm saying? And spiritually is just an essence of you. You know what I'm saying? You can't really tell nobody how to behave. You should already know how to behave. You know what I'm saying? You should already know to treat people how you need to be treated or how you want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? So it's 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 easy, man. We shouldn't it shouldn't be no more of you know too much of disagreement into a battle with anybody anymore. We all know we got our differences, and we just need to stick with each other. And when it comes to us being as one, but of course, with your families and your close ones, you do however you do. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's beneficial and making your life progress to the higher self, I'm all for that, man. You know, and I'm pretty sure AP is too. So, you know,
Absolutely, absolutely. Long as it's beneficiary to you and your family,
that's
you
right.
know, keep it up. You know, whatever floats your boat. You know what I mean? Whatever saying you want to go with. You know what I'm saying? Make sure it's helping you and your family.
That's right, man. And peace to the chat. I ain't really in the chat right now. I'm just I got my notes beside me, y'all. You know, I'm making sure I'm just kind of staying in a good line and giving y'all some solid stuff and some solid sources. Just cause we gotta we gotta give it to y'all. So I ain't like I say, peace to the chat, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all. You know what I mean? We all we got, and we gonna make it, and nothing gonna stop us. You know, it's all about celebrating. So celebrate for
Facts.
me at least. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna definitely celebrate for you and for y'all or whatever. And we gonna keep embracing this thing to the fullest, man. So you know, that's what we do. Um,
Yeah, yeah, man. So, we're gonna try to start hitting a few live streams during the day, maybe a little earlier time. So once again, we apologize for the timing. Know it's kind of late, family. We appreciate y'all bearing with us. Like I said, y'all just check out the chat either tonight or first thing in the morning. We'll have some of those books that we went through in there. And I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. And like I said, if it's anything that y'all want us to rebuttal about them Pan Africans, leave it in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button, share and subscribe. And y'all all have a blitzful night, you guys. Much love. We all we got.
Peace, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay with us. Stay with us. We got this, y'all. We'll be back.
Peace.
Peace.